All right, Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. I'm back here on the homestead. I'm working on clearing the woods. So this is what the woods look like, and this is what it looks like afterwards. So what I'm doing is I'm down here. The house site's going to be up the hill that way, but I'm going through, I'm cutting out all the small stuff. I still have some of these smaller trees I still need to take down. Um, but basically it's going from this dense, thick woods to where it's going to be open. So if I go past all these small trees right here, you see this is basically what it's going to look like. And then what I'm going to have is have the forestry mulcher guy come in, and he's going to come in and all these stumps will be gone. It will chop up all the small brush and everything like that. And then of course I have stacks of firewood. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking all the branches and some of the smaller trunks and I'm building a wall. Now what that wall is going to do, now this is going up the mountain, it's going to stop all the rain from just coming right down, all the water. So that will help retain some of the water and slow it down like a beaver's dam. Water still goes through a beaver's dam. It just goes slower than being completely walled off or being wide open. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing the hedge. The second is it's going to be the natural fence, so the horses and cattle can come in here and they're not going to try to climb through all that stuff. I'm going to have to build it up throughout the winter. And then the other thing is, since I'm destroying an ecosystem, I want to give a new refuge, a new home to birds, bunnies, toads, caterpillars, you name it. They're going to be able to live in there. Now, everybody's talking to me about how by doing this, I'm going to make a refuge for snakes as well. And since I've had issues with snakes, however, I will, but that will be over there. Mice and stuff will be in there. That's going to be its own ecosystem. So with animals going through here and this being grass eventually, the snakes are going to want to stay up there because that's where the food source is going to be. And that gives a way for the snakes to get away from the animals. And that's not the animals just walking through all this dense woods like over here where there's snakes everywhere. So this is going to open everything up. Like I said, I still have these small trees to take out. And I'm going to be building this natural fence all the way around the whole property line. And then like here, I've got Purdom Lane here. And then the house site road's going to go up that way. And this is going to be a like triangle. And I have multiple places throughout the property. Like everybody saw these ribbons, the pink ribbons that me and Carlo put up for the logging, because we wanted to keep some woods that didn't get logged. Now I'm not doing the logging, but the pink ribbons are going to act as where I want the fence line. So then the animals can't go in there and chew up all the small trees and stuff like that. As the branches break down, it's a above ground hygge culture bed. So all the nutrients from all this breaking down is going to be feeding all the trees and everything else. And then with the animals coming through here and eating the vegetation, they're going to be pooping and peeing and fertilizing this ground, which will make it more fertile for the grass and grains and everything else that I'm going to spread, clover, do a mix of everything. So it's not just straight one crop like Americans like to do. I want to do a multi different variety. So that way, just like in the woods, you don't have just one type of tree, you have all these different type of trees. So everything's changing here. This is what I'm going to be working on all winter, is clearing this out. Once I get enough done and once I have the $1,500 saved up for the forestry mulching, then they're coming, like I said, take out all these stumps, clean up everything. Before he comes in, I need to save up money to buy seed. I want to get a couple pallets of seed and get all the different seeds spread before he comes in here. So that way, with the tracks and everything being chipped up and moved around, that will help work the seed into the ground. And that will be a benefit to me. And then all the wood chips and stuff like that will cover the seed, and the seed will work its way down into the soil. Once it hits the soil, then you got your germination, and it will help cover up so birds and different animals can't get the seed, because you have wood chips and everything else all over the place. So that's what's going on here. I'm not doing anything over at the restaurant now because everything's changing. They're talking about Friday. They're going to be shutting down some of the trains that take cargo and stuff back and forth. If that happens, grain is going to go up for animal feed and for everything else. So this is my priority now, is getting everything cleared here. Do I still plan on selling that property you are on now? No, the homestead, actually, I came over here, I think today's Tuesday. I don't keep track of days, but Monday when I came over here, which I think was yesterday, I came over and the real estate sign was gone. So my contract ended and the realtor didn't even tell me and just had the sign pulled. And that's how I found out, by calling her to find out why the sign was gone. But no, so the homestead is no longer under contract. I'm not selling it. However, up at the very front of the property that borders Moscow Love, you might want to look into starting a plant nursery. I am thinking that myself in Georgia. Oh, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff, Scott. While I've been working here in the woods, just up the road, I found a wild plum tree. I didn't know what it was, and I put it up on Facebook, and then looked at Google Lens, and Google say it was a wild plum tree. So I have different fruit trees already on here. I have nut trees. I have black walnut. I have all different type of stuff here on the homestead. So my goal is the 25 acres up at Moscow Love along the main county road. I'm gonna get that subdivided. That's gonna be 1,800, 2,200, something like that, for the survey people to break that up. I forget what it is. It's in an email they sent me, the quote. But I'm going to have it subdivided into 3 to 5 acre lots. So I'll have 4 lots to sell. And then I'll put 4 signs there once that gets surveyed. And that will go ahead and give me 4 properties to sell. So if I lose, just say up to 30 acres, then that goes ahead and leaves me 90 acres. So 90 acres is going to be plenty for me to do what I want to do. But I want to get all this cleared here, all the way around, and then do this along the whole property line of the 90 acres or 95 acres, whatever it ends up being, because I want to get the animals in here next year. Or most animals, the camels, the goats, the emus, they try to climb through this stuff, because I already did one of these walls, if you saw an earlier video, inside the animal pen, and the goats just push one through and climb through it and everything else. The cattle, the horses, the donkeys, they walk around it. So I want to let the horses, the donkeys, the zorse, the horses, the zebus, I want to bring them in next year so they can forage this whole area, and then hopefully, like I said, get seed planted in the next couple months. So that way spring comes, it's going to germinate, it's going to pop up, start growing, and then I'm going to have 90 plus acres for all the seeding to take hold. And then when I bring the animals in next year, then they're able to go ahead and start foraging. That's going to cut back on feed. And as I go through here, I'm going to start, once I get into the main property, not just here along Purdom Lane and not just along the property lines, but I'm going to start all the rotted wood. Right now is inside these berms. All the rotted wood I'll start pulling to the side, bring my 16-foot car hauler trailer down, and I'll load all the wood on that, and that will give me the wood for the hooger culture beds that I want to build this winter as well. And that will get gardens going next year. I'm going to do gardens here. I want to get fencing done here for some gardens, even though I'm not living here yet. And then I want to have gardens over at the restaurant. The reason I want 2 sets of gardens is, one, I want one here that will go on its own. I won't be watering it. I won't be doing anything to it, except if it produces, I'll gain crop from the garden here. I want a garden over at the restaurant because I'm living at the restaurant, so I want something there. With the world changing and everything going on right now, and now, like I said, they're talking about shutting down the trains and stuff like that. Inflation's still going up. Everything's, just the prices. I went to do grocery shopping this weekend, and prices are still climbing in the grocery store. So I want to try to get fruit trees either next year or the year after to add to this area. But I've got to get the woods cleared and do everything like that. And then the other thing that's changing is I'm no longer going to be selling this property. I'm keeping it now. I was thinking about selling this if I could have got the money to pay off the mortgage here and then buy a property that had pasture. But now I'm starting to think I like having the trees and everything like that, because then it's going to be cooler and it's not just one set of grass, one set of grain in a pasture. This is biodiversity, and that's what I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to be doing like a permaculture type thing as well, along with the hygge culture, and doing biodiversity and everything like that here on the homestead. But I'm not going to put the money that I get from Colorado into the grid. I was looking at having electricity brought out, having water brought out. So I'm going to do what I did at my first place. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set up a rain catchment system. I'm going to get solar. I'm going to bring all that in, and I'm going to do an off-grid house here. I'm also now thinking I'm not going to do an ICF house like I had planned in Colorado, but I'm looking at doing like a Hobbit style type house, because I don't need a huge house, and being in the earth is a lot cooler during the summer and a lot warmer during the winter. So I'm going to be looking at those ideas, and I also want to try to get the shed moved back here into the deeper part of the property, so everything's not up at the main road. And then I want to get some of that fencing taken down once I can get some animals moved. So everything is basically changing here. All my plans have changed once again, and my goal is to try to get things set up so if something does happen in this world, then I've got this fallback to come over here. And I also want to try to get like a small off-grid house built here, which of course I won't have the money to do a bunch right now, but over time. So the goal right now is get the woods cleared, get this set up for the animals, and get gardens this winter. So next year I can go ahead and start producing food for me and extra for the animals. I also want to get into canning, so I'm going to be getting canning jars come spring, and look at canning next year, and doing all different sorts of things. So 6 months of the year I'll be at the snowball stand in the heat of the summer. It was 87 degrees here today, so I'm still in the heat a little bit. But I'll do 6 months there, and then 6 months working here on the homestead, and just little by little, it's going to get going. Like I said, from now until March, the last weekend of March, I'll be here at the homestead working. So I'll have more videos coming up, more things happening. When the forestry mulcher comes in, I'll have that filmed. As I get garden beds built and all that type stuff, I'll be doing that. And as I make more progress and get different things done. And then, of course, Chubbs and Max are out here with me. So they're hanging out, doing their thing, just relaxing. Minnie and Mickey are back at the house at the restaurant because A, she's pregnant, and B, Mickey split his foot again. So I wanted to re-heal once again, not as bad as when he cut it, but he did split it, had a couple of drops of blood. So I want him to heal up. So those two are home, and then I'm out here every day working away, trying to get stuff done. So this is today's progress. So I took my measuring wheel, measured this out. I did about 125 feet. So I've got to go home tonight. When I'm done here, I'm going to work for probably another 30 minutes or so. And I'm going to do the math to see how many feet around the whole property is, and figure out if I'm going to be able to even accomplish what I want to accomplish this winter by fencing for the animals. Because if I can only do 125 feet a day, I'm not sure how many feet around that is, and then how many days I need. And that's if we don't have raining days and things like that. So this is the progress. This is what's happening. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.